So today I'm going to be talking about telomere length and what shortens it quicker or slower. Now, telomeres do naturally shorten with age, and if you don't know what telomeres are, they're at the end of our chromosomes, and basically every time they split, a little bit of the telomere is cut off instead of our DNA. So I'm not an expert, but that's kind of like the rough summary of it, and you want them to be as long as possible because the quicker they shorten, I guess biologically older you are, and there's more likely to be issues such as cancer when your cells are trying to reproduce. So the first thing that shortens your telomeres quicker is smoking, and this is smoking tobacco, and it seems to be in a dose-dependent fashion. So if you smoke one pack of cigarettes a day for 40 years, you're losing around 7.4 years equivalently in your telomere length. Now, smoking seems to increase oxidative stress, and this seems to be one of the big reasons why telomere length shortens. Next up is one that is actually worse than smoking, and that's actually obesity. They found that it increases oxidative stress and DNA damage, and being obese is the equivalent of 8.8 years of life in terms of telomere length. So that's quite a big difference, especially when compared to smoking, which is only 7.4 years. Next up is exposure to harmful things in the atmosphere and toxins. I suppose this one is a bit more obvious, but they actually saw that the telomere lengths were shorter in traffic workers compared to office workers. This is because they were exposed to the car fumes more. They also found that coke oven workers had shorter telomeres as well. Next is stress, which kind of surprised me, not because it shortens your telomeres, but because how much it shortens your telomeres. When they looked at two groups of women and one having more stress in their life or daily stressors and the others not, it seemed a 10-year difference in telomere length. So this is actually worse than being obese and actually worse than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, which is kind of crazy to be honest, but it's great that it brings attention to how important stress is and reducing that in your life. Next is what you consume in terms of diet. Now, there seemed to be a positive correlation with telomere length and fiber, so eating more fiber is good for your telomere length. And in rats, they found that when they reduced their protein content in their food, it increased their increased their lifespan, and it increased their telomere length in their kidneys. Next up is intake of antioxidants. So if you consume more omega fatty acids, you're more likely to have longer telomeres. There's a direct relationship or inverse relationship if you're talking about omega-3 fatty acids consumed and then shortening of the telomeres. Other antioxidants which are also good for your telomere length is vitamin E, vitamin C, and beta-carotene. So next up, we've kind of covered diet before, but this is dietary restriction. So they found that there's an increased lifespan in animals of up to 66% when you give them less calories to consume. Now, this isn't anything new, but they did found that there were significantly increased telomere length in their kidneys. They reckon, again, this is through oxidative stress that they have the increased lifespan and increased telomere length. Next up is exercise. So they find exercise was significantly associated with telomere length. So they found that athletes had much longer telomere lengths than non-athletes. So if you're working out, keeping yourself fit and active, you're probably going to have longer telomeres. And that's pretty much all for this paper. I will leave the conclusion and summary here if you're interested. But yeah, it's quite interesting. These are things we can all kind of change if we are interested in increasing or at least slowing down the rate at which our telomeres shorten. And yeah, I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching.